Talking about level, we were commenting here at the break. I will have the courage to tell you a neurosis. I'm in need of a psychiatrist to do a treatment. Which I also have a life problem. Is this phone that we don't leave, right? I fell into the nonsense to download a little game on my cell phone about 7 months ago called Mini Farm, and I was getting so connected in that business that it seems and is impressive as, and look, I consider myself a conscious person, right? I consider myself I observe myself a lot. The day I realized that I was putting my cell phone to wake 3-4 a.m. to feed the sheep, I realized that something was not very well with my mental system. And then I was telling this to Christian here, and he was made of a very interesting reflection. He was saying that when we get very excited about this game, somehow we make this game be for us what should be real life. Isn't that what we talked about here? But in the game, things are simpler, right? The achievements are very fast, and they do just that. It can be a very time-consuming thing, but we are discouraged. And therein Minifazendia is entertainment, of course. But that should be so. An entertainment that didn't involve my day, right? When you realize you are worried because you have hungry sheep and you need to produce that wool because there is a delivery to do something is not right there in our choices. So I keep thinking that sometimes this virtual life or these numerous options that we have today of having fun entertains. They are harmful to us because they remove us from the possibility of you living this rest that I said. If we set a rule that after 10 a.m., then we don't look anymore on your cell phone. But if someone dies, you will know. There will be no way. By the way, I think people should die during business hours, right? The person dying 3-4 a.m. is very bad because we have nothing to do, right? At this time. It should have a rule, only if they die during business hours to give time to take the initiatives, right? Everyone is agreeing here, The background that will be no, not defunct. The person will become deceased only during business hours. Jokes aside, we need to have this discipline in our own day, because otherwise we are making choices that are weakening our health too much. Even today, I spoke this to a friend of mine. I'm getting worried that sometimes I get the habit of looking at the phone every 5 minutes. A WhatsApp arrived. Okay, it really is. There is no way. If you have many friends, if you have a lot of contacts there, it is natural for people to talk to you all day. But you don't have an obligation to respond to all the time, if that's not really important. Answer later, or take an hour of the day so we can do this so as not to leave the time at the gym. I remember that there in Lisbon was not in Fatima. We went to do a physical activity there, took an hour of my time there during the pilgrimage, and a recommendation that existed well at the entrance of the gym was this, right? Turn off your phone. Turn off your phone, which is the phone, so that you can afford to at least when you are doing your physical activity. You turn off. And also do mental hygiene. And I found it interesting because it's really, we sometimes go to the gym, people are each one with their cell phone. It would be an opportunity that we would have to rest our head a little. Tired the body to rest the head. This is always the movement. Anyone who likes a physical activity knows that this logic is possible. I get tired of the body and rest my head as I do my physical activity. But now we are not being able to rest our heads, because the genular of the little ones that tires us. Nothing is subjected to unraveling. What has been said is not gathered in the mouth. What was written is not a rest. The choice has brought us here. Repentance does not change a single centimeter of the past. Forgive yourself. It all happened as it could be. I know that you have a tendency to accuse yourself daily for what you haven't achieved, for what you did wrong. It is natural in human life. This is when we do not fill our life with you. If I had said, If I had gone, if I had stayed. We will always have many, many possibilities for the accusation. But it makes no sense. The life you have before you today needs to be forgiven, so that no resentment is, no hurt, so you can move on. It opens with generosity. You have achieved so much. Wrong, lost, was betrayed. All good. It happened. What you can now do with the past is important. The life you have before your eyes, this blank page that God gives you the opportunity to write, that alone matters. Put your eyes on it. Stop looking at the past. Create conjectures that will no longer be possible. We cannot change 1 centimeter of what has happened, but the presento. The gift is before us and awaits our dedication. The present is before us, and if we want, we can transform it into a big evento. A great opportunity to make life worthwhile and to live comfortably in ourselves. Forgive yourself. Do not accuse yourself for what you have not done. Do not condemn yourself for what you stopped doing. If today you can do something for you, do. Snuggled yourself. Reconcile everything you used to accuse yourself. Have more compassion. And learn. Learn from errors. Do not allow them to become a source of martyrdom in your life. Allow them to be a source of learning. It matters. Learn from the past and make the gift worthwhile. Father, how to know that we are doing God's will? I made a decision and I'm very afraid of not doing the right thing. My daughter, I often say that God's will, we identify her through common sense. God speaks to us. We have that vision that God enters, screams in a cloud, "Oh, my son," or that God will come in a dream. No, for the sake of God. How does God speak to me? Through common sense. When I look at a situation and I find out that I need to do that, common sense points to me the best to do. That's it. And how do I confirm? Through common sense people. I go there, I ask for advice. God tells us like this, my people. Through wise people we are looking for. Look, I wanted your opinion. Do you think if I do this, it will work? And it is very good for us to have people who have this confidence to look for, to open the game, to tell what our projects are. Well, I'm thinking of doing this. Is this God's will for my life? No, never put the decision parameter for one person only. The priest told me that and I'll follow what he said. Careful. It may be that that priest spoke without much reflection too. Was there crazy to dispatch you? Was rushing hurried? Because sometimes life is like this, my people. Sometimes you are in that damn rush. The priest comes and raises such a serious question that is unfair to me. And sometimes in the midst of hurry, confusion, I have no way to give you wise advice. I have no way to analyze your question in depth. So you better be convinced that God will speak to your heart, and you will be sure that you will be doing God's will when you start looking for common sense. So I act from a common sense. This is notorious within the human process. It is easy to identify. So God wants me to act like this. So, I set a project and start talking to people who love me, with people who have a slightly broader view of what I am reflecting on my own. This is a good way we have to look for this path, to do God's will in our lives. Only those who have read Father Fabio de Mello's books know how transformative they are. Make us reflect and change the way we see life. If you haven't read it yet, don't miss this big chance. Learn more by clicking on the description links. Thanks for your company. Great on use. The blessing of the Almighty God, He who is Father, Son, and Holy Spirit. That's so good, isn't it? This is the essential in your life. This is the essential that you need to give your children. Make your home a place where they want to return. Many times we will know how to give our children a good see as we come back in time and begin to recover. To rediscover those who were part of our lives and suddenly we forgot. Mother, father, brothers. People who are essential in our lives. I know there are facts that hurt us so much. So much that the scar will take a little more. Life, my people, follows the same rule as healing. If you have a shallow cut, soon the same today. This week was there at, by the way. I want to send a big thank you very much, my people. One of the most exciting events of my life. Just as it was from parent-teens. Right, that I had said it was one of the most exciting events of my life. I need to say that Giparanas was also at the same level as... No. People's involvement. Cheerful people. Thank you very much. Thank you. I also thank the people of Hortolandia for the affection they received this week. But there in Giparana, when it comes to going out, greeting people, someone hurt me here in the fist. It was a small little bunch. This cut, because it was shallow, is natural that he heals faster in Ramona. Now, when we have a slightly deeper cut, you will have to be a little more careful with it. It is natural that you need to pass an ointment with a little antibiotic so that you favor the recovery of the meat. If you have a surgical cut that was even deeper, because besides cutting the skin, it cut the layer greasy until it reached that organ that needed to be operated. You still have a longer process, because you will point out this healing will be from the inside out. Donna Raimunda, every time a bad thing happens to us, it's like a cut has been made in our soul. I'm just saying this to this comparison to suddenly help you understand that the time of healing, the way you will heal within us, depends on the work we need to have for it to happen. So the little cut of my wrist, I didn't have to do anything. I just washed with soap and water so as not to infect, and the meat is already recovered. Already created a cone. Soon falls. And I will not even remember that this happened here. If it had been a slightly deeper cut, I would have to have had a little more care. And if it were a surgical cut, even deeper, bigger, it would have to be my care. Donna Raimunda, losing a son, murdered grandson. It is like receiving a cut that needs a lot of care. And how do we take care of such a cut, Donna Raimunda? First, we have this presence of God in our lives, as angry as you stay, and it is natural for this revolt to happen at first. But the simple fact that the lady puts himself before God. He knows, without saying anything, sir. On here, I have nothing to say. The Lord knows very well how I am upset with the Lord, because I believe that the Lord should have avoided it. I return to the beginning of the program. Sometimes, in our childish vision, we think God will be there preventing all the evils from happening, and not quite. God's protection happens in our lives, yes, but unfortunately, God is limited when the other, who is living by our side, is not committed to good. It is therefore, my people, that conversion is not just a personal dimension. It's no use praying for your personal conversion only. You, Al. Every time we take good care of our body, when we eat right, we sleep well. To a physical activity, we are corresponding to what God has given us. It is how you take good care of a gift given to you. When we receive a gift, the person who gives us expects us to take good care of the gift received. So it is. Taking care of health is the same thing. The immune system is there to help us preserve the life God has given us. Everything that improves immunity, right diet, correct rest, lack of excessive concerns, resting rest, physical activity, rest, relaxing, distracting. All of this improves the immune system. Loving and being loved, love is good for immunity. Doctors teach us this, that the more a person loves, the more that person The more they play for the other, the better. The greater the production of endorphin. All of these substances that improve our immunity, which puts the soldiers all there to work, to throw away, to throw away, to throw away. All our invasions. In our feelings, in our thoughts, the same thing has to happen. If we keep negative, pessimistic thoughts, if we let us create a context of bad things within us, our immunity is lowering. We are harming the action of our soldiers. It is not how it works. If I have many invaders and few soldiers, the invaders will win. And I've seen many people being destroyed by negative thinking that nourished. People being destroyed because they kept their spoiled feelings in their hearts. Destroyed effective immunity. Remember that once we talk here, that in this context of many evils, we live in a world where there are many bad people. We know that. There are a lot of good people, but there are a lot of bad people. We live with these evil people. We live all the time with this devilish context. As much as we have God in our hearts, this devilish context does not decrease because of it. Now, of course, when I interfere with this process and I do not allow it to grow within me, I create an immunity for it. But this effective spiritual, psychic immunity we need to create within us. We need to strengthen ourselves so that we can overcome negative thoughts and destructive feelings. This is why Jesus was very wise when he taught that we cannot hate, that when someone hits our face is better than we offer to another. He wasn't telling us to be silly. No. Sometimes we understand this as a damage, right? Oh, what fun is that? One hits my face. I turn my face so that he beats the other. Jesus is talking about a much broader context. He is just saying that we should not treat evil with evil, because every time we treat evil with evil, we turn into evil. If I treat evil with good, I paralyze the strength of bad. If I neutralize the strength of everything that is bad in this life, I will give good the opportunity to grow. Consequently, I will not keep the seeds of evil within myself. Worst of all, my people, when we realize that we turn into sowing evil, the other comes, tells me a gossip. I am pleased to know that gossip. At the first opportunity I have, I tell the gossip to the other, even if I don't know if it is true, even if I don't know, even if I don't have proof of the facts, I already put myself to spread what was brought. You see, the seed of evil fell on me. Instead of choking her, instead of killing her, I play her forward. I make flowers of this seed. I make bumps of this seed and command. Roiled flowers, flowers that are not good. We are making these pacts all the time. We set these bonds all the time. And that's where we need to be careful. Lent time is a fasting time of abstinence. But we need to be very careful that our abstinences, that our fasts are not just outward actions. Our sacrifice has to be directly connected with everything that will throw out the realities that get sick and that kill us. Our prayer has to be directed in the same position. It has to be positioned in the same direction. My prayer, my contact with God, my experience with the Lord. How will people believe in our Christian testimony if, at the moment we act, we do not show love? We do not show mercy, ability to forgive, ability to reconcile us. And say again, forgiving doesn't mean you being silly, because you have the right to take the other. Look, I forgive you, but from that moment I don't want to have the bond anymore, because the bond is bad, because the other harms you, because the other has a negative ancestry about you. You have the right. Just yesterday, I was talking to a friend. Be careful if the influence the other exerts on you is not diabolical. Throw away. Do not allow. Put the boundaries. Set the limits. Who controls your life has to be you. It is you who control the limits of your home. It is you who control what will enter inside your home, what your children will watch, what relationships you will nourish. It's your right. Because otherwise, we are keeping within us all this garbage that the world produces. On a high scale, the garbage that the world produces is not low. Toxic waste from the spiritual point of view. From the effective point of view, it is terrible the garbage that the world today produces. Why? Because there are many people committed to evil, lies, injustice, jealousy, gossip. So we need to be careful. Garbage is being produced and is produced within our churches. It is produced within our prayer groups. It is produced within our convents, our seminaries, our parishes, our sacristices. We are not free. Where there is a person, there is also the possibility of waste production. It is not because I am a priest that I am free from not producing this trash. Now, what will make a difference is how committed how committed to the person of Jesus. We want nothing but to be the presence of Jesus in today's world, helping to reduce trash. Help reduce people who only see the negative side of things. Help decrease this line of needy that is growing more and more. Because my people, the more evil grows, the more fans grow, the greater the line of the needy. For he who brings evil within his heart is the first to need God's grace. Needing God's grace is very positive. It is very positive. But when we need it, but it is not open to this need, we are thickening the line of the needy they do not know, who are not able to recognize within the heart that only God can help us reduce this waste production, and that the more we are committed through our fasts, our sacrifices, the things that truly make a difference in our lives, the more we are committed to this process of change, the greater the chance God will have to happen in stock. I invite you to live this challenge of reducing this waste production you do. That I do. It starts to think there, right? What was the garbage today I produced? What was the toxin I produced today? Was it my jealousy? Was it the slander? Am I looking jealous of the other? Am I not being able to manage the joy that the other feels? Am I archiving anything against someone? Am I being a liar? Am I lying to the people I love? Am I being unfaithful? All of this is garbage we produce. Infidelity is a terrible thing, because the unfaithful husband, he produces garbage that he is throwing inside his own house. He throws upon the hearts of his children. He throws upon the heart of his wife. He throws upon the hearts of friends who truly love him. The marital infidelity so common today is garbage that is intoxicating our families. We are murdering our children because we throw this garbage in the water that our children drink. Did we talk about the importance of having pure water? The attitude of father and mother often throws a toxin that kills on family water, that spoils. This is like alcohol. It is a toxin that kills the body that drinks and kills the heart of those who live with those who drink. Children who are destroyed, families who are destroyed because of the strength of alcohol. Uncompromising fathers and mothers with the happiness of the family because alcohol has become an addiction. Children who do not help family happiness at all because they are closed in their world of drugs, their worlds of addictions, toxins, bad things, unhappiness, which generate inside our home, which generate within us the obstacles so that we can be better the obstacles. You know, my people, sometimes we carelessly neglect our happiness. Sometimes we carelessly neglect the happiness that we can live. Sometimes we neglect the opportunity to be happy. Every day we have this opportunity, right? Life is not wonderful. Life is not spectacular. Many people say that. My life has nothing good. My life is nothing pleasant. My people, we all have difficulties. Sometimes we look at that reality that looks perfect, right? That family has no problem. That couple has no problem. It will live inside that house. We have to find out the opportunity to be happy with what we are. I often say, right? The envious is the one who always looks at the garden of the house of the other, the neighbor, and is regretting that he does not have a garden like that. And it is all the time throwing eyes of envy over the garden that is not his. But instead of digging, moving your land, fertilizing your land, and planting your flowers, it will bitter your entire life. Morning you don't have. Sometimes we do this. We neglect the opportunity we have. You can be happy today. You can be a happy person today, even with all the difficulties you have. But you will need to be creative. Find out in the middle of all this what you can do. And sometimes, my people, the first step for this happiness to be possible is to throw away, purify, filter out of our water all the waste we are keeping and producing. It is judging away a little of jealousy. It is judging away a little of this envy. And every day you feel that you are walking to this purification, that you will be lighter, that you will be better, as there is no magic formula, see? But I can assure you that you can live this purification experience, removing what is bad and occupying your head and heart with good things. When you start to stop paying attention to your suffering, your whimper, and start being a little more aware of what you can do, the people you can help, to situations that depend on you, and stop paying so much attention to the defects, what is not working. Start to be a little more optimistic. Start to have a little more tranquility in the heart. A little more patience with life. A little more patience with the people on your side. Because that's what will make a difference at the end of everything. That's how much we knew how to manage the problems we had. We talked too much. We ended up spending the first block all talking, but no problem. This conversation is important. I am sure that many of us live situations, difficulties that bump into this speech here. Many of us we are intoxicated with our waste, our negativism, with bad things, our crystallized defects, and many of us need to be touched by mercy and the grace of God, which is precisely what we want. Sometimes the first step we take towards grace, the restoration that God can do in our lives, is precisely our reflection. When we come to the conclusion, it's true, I'm like this, I need to change. And when we recognize that we made a mistake, we have already started to get it right. In life, every time we establish communion, we have the opportunity to grow as people. Because it is in communion that we strengthen ourselves when you identify that you are not alone. It is interesting because human maturity, this natural and necessary process of becoming adult, to be able to understand life, the pains of existence, without causing so much annoyance. The natural process of being people will teach us that when we share pain or joy, we approach the deepest meaning of these realities. Because sharing reveals what is hidden, or even time itself. It will help us make this sharing increasingly revealing. And that is why it is important to be in communion. And all the time, human effort is to establish communion. When we want to love and be loved, this is communion. When we want to have friends, when we want company, even if it is to go to the movies, this is communion. Decreases orphanage. It decreases the desolation that is so natural to life. Existing is heavy. Existing is hurt. Not easy. And there are no magic formulas, no ready-made formulas that help us realize with harmony. The only way we have to exist with a little more harmony is through the maturity process. Because we know that the child is a being who doesn't like to be countered. And the child has a hard time with no. And we know that the pedagogical process is to say the no just right and at the right time. This is what will make the child be able to understand the limity. Sometimes we have this momentum, isn't it? When you were a child? This instinct of destroying the other, of wanting what is from the other. Then someone comes and educates us, isn't it? Well, you need to learn to divide. You need to learn to respect. Words such as respect, solidarity. It is only possible for those who are already mature. But it is in the process of maturing that the school helps us, parents, the people who love us, those who are truly responsible for us, will help us live this process of maturity where we position ourselves in the face of life. Is like this. I'm not someone who has to be pleased all the time. Of course, I will seek my human achievement. I want to be happy. I want to have the right to be satisfied being who I am. But to reach this satisfaction, life teaches us that we have to go through the purification process. And only this purification matures us. And those who refuse to live the process of the limit of life difficulties will not be able to be a balanced and mature person. And this is our project, isn't it? We want to take the place in the world in a harmonious way. For this, they serve religion. Religious discourse comes in to help us bring these harmonies. I always like to say that religion, when you speak the expression, the word religion, she goes far beyond temples and religious rites. We are talking about everything that touches us, everything that harmonizes us. So, is it religious to love? Is it religious to listen to a song? Is it religious to appreciate a work of art? Because these are situations that sensitize us, that touch us, and make us better. These are human realities that touch us and help us to live this process of maturity. This week I was thinking, reflecting a little. The church invites us that in Lent's time we need it is not that we just pray in Lent. No, it is that Lent is a special time of prayer, of recollection. We were talking here in last week's program that it is important to find out the difference in liturgical time. So we are living a time when the church invites us to live the collection, the fast, the prayer. But for God's sake, I cannot understand fasting, the sacrifice for themselves. There is a much larger reason hidden in my renunciation that I do. So, okay, I don't like meat on Friday, or I don't like meat, or I stopped eating chocolate for these 40 days. That's fine. Each one chooses the sacrifice they want to do, the renunciation they want to do. But the true meaning of this renunciation is to provoke within us the possibility of being better, having more opportunity to be more confident, or even having a little more possession of what we are. Because sometimes we are living in a way that we lose the ability to control ourselves. So I work there. I control myself in front of a chocolate box, and then be able to control myself in the face of more serious situations. But then what I was saying, I was thinking that what is the great secret of prayer? What does prayer do in our lives? You see, Buddhist monks have a specific way of praying. The Catholic Father has a specific way of praying. The evangelical pastor has a specific way of praying. Religions propose to us the rites, but what really is the content of this rite? When I lay the white towel on the altar for me to preside over the Eucharist, when I celebrate the Christian Catholic rite, what am I proposing? And what do I want to experience this prayer? And about that I thought that prayer is an instrumental that puts us in a process of self-reflection. I will self-reflect. I can reflect on the other. I can reflect on the world. But prayer at first, it allows me a time-consuming look at me. Because every time I put myself before God, it is natural for me to bring to Him, to talk to Him all my realities, my selfishness, my fears, my insecurities, my virtues. And at that moment when I am before the Lord in prayer, I have the opportunity to do what the world often does not provide me, which is precisely to touch these realities of loving way. This is why I do not believe in prayer that is detached from the love process. To pray is to want the good. Have you heard that? When I pray for the other, I'm manifesting to God my desire to be a good way. It is, what? I am praying that the other has peace, that the other may be healthy, for the other to have dignity, for the other to be a child of justice, or to be within a context of justice. My want, this prayer is loving. And every time I enter this prayer process, I'm favoring myself to get a little more humble. I'm favoring myself a little more balance. Because, funny, even atheists admit it. Even atheists admit it. Even atheists admit that reflection, admit it's good. silence, a break time. He also needs to call himself. The atheist also needs to scrutinize his human reality, because he also suffers from the same anxieties as us. So everyone needs to be reflected. Everyone needs to think. As I am being, who I am being, what place I am occupying in the world, how I am treating the people who live with me, as I treat the people I find, how I am a citizen. Today in the morning newspaper, Alexandra Garcia reflected this trickster that exists on the internet, for example. I go through a blitz and immediately tweet that there is a blitz in such a place, so that what is, that is not able to drive, that is already drunk. He sees that information. What will he do? He will divert. Will look for another way, and this is when the accidents happen. So, Alexandra Garcia reflected this solidarity with what is bad. So I am sympathetic to rid each other's responsibility. What country is this? Is this a serious position of those who really want a fair society, or who really believes in the value of the other's life? That I have no right to drive drunk because I can kill the other's son? You already wondered if I'm an alcoholic or if I go to a party and I'm not in a position to drive, and because I'm guided by someone who tells me where there is blitz. Where you don't, I encourage my car and get out without conditions to drive and be able to kill a family that is suddenly coming home. Do you think this fair? And the journalist reflected precisely on that. This solidarity with what is bad, with what is not moral, with what is not ethical. My people, we need to think all the time about it. Does I thicken the process queue? Am I thickening the line of those who weaken the social body? Or is I an active citizen who does what is right, even if it causes me restrictions? Okay, I have the right to go to a party, to drink a wine, but I have to know that if I chose to drink at that party, it is my obligation not to drive. Because this is maturity. You know that you have rights, and that you also have duties. This is Christianity. If I tell myself Christian, if I tell myself adept at life, if I tell myself someone who is concerned about making society better, I will live the dimension of my religiosity and be able to promote what is right. Because sometimes, my people, we want to live the religion, but we do not want the commitments this religion brings us. And for me, this is a religious commitment. I don't know who is going out at that car moment. I don't know who drank, who didn't drink. But I want to know about me, about my stories. You can no longer want a better society if we do not fulfill our role. I don't have the right to want a better world if I don't exercise my part, if I don't realize my little part. When I leave my house, I have to go out with all the responsibilities assumed. I am a citizen. This is a religious proposal. Christianity needs to move our way of living, the choices we make. Then, yes, we are talking about a religion that can really do well, that can put us as true transformers. How is Jesus' proposal? Maturity. We all need. We are never totally mature, and there is always a step to be taken in the direction of this maturity.